He's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig, he's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry.
That was Robert De Niro, two-time Oscar winner, Hollywood legend, standing on a live stage, staring straight into the camera and delivering one of the most blistering takedowns ever seen on national television. And within hours, Donald Trump lost it. What followed was an all-out cultural collision, a street-level war of words, a courtroom standoff disguised as an award show speech. And just to be clear, everything you're about to see is real, because what De Niro said next set off a firestorm that still hasn't burned out. And yes, it starts right here.
I'm going to say one thing. Fuck Trump. It's no longer down with Trump, it's...
On live television, Robert De Niro called out Donald Trump not with vague disapproval, but with unfiltered rage. A clown, a fraud, a national embarrassment. But it wasn't just about name-calling. It was about what those names represented to millions. The fear that their democracy had been hijacked by someone dangerously unfit. When De Niro dropped the F-bomb, it wasn't for shock value. It was the boiling point of years watching norms collapse. The crowd cheered, not because it was bold, but because it was overdue. If you feel like De Niro is just saying out loud what many are thinking quietly, then hit subscribe right now, because what he's about to say next is going to hit even harder.
He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction of this country. And what I'm very, very worried about is that it might go in the wrong direction with someone like Donald Trump.
This wasn't Hollywood drama, it was a warning. When Robert De Niro said he wanted to punch Donald Trump, it wasn't about ego, it was about fear. Fear that the country was heading towards something dark, something un-American. And when he asked, "Is this someone we want for president?" he wasn't just challenging Trump, he was challenging everyone watching. Because for De Niro, this isn't about politics. It's about whether democracy can survive 4 more years of the chaos he's seen unfold.
But I gotta say, there is a difference. He's a criminal. Kamala Harris is not a criminal. Joe Biden is not part of a crime family. And he knows that, and I'm sure a lot of people with him know that, especially the Republicans that are supposed to defend this country and oppose him.
You must have crossed...
He was an idiot. He was a clown. He was a clown in New York. And New Yorkers say, you know, some would go with him, of course, people who work in what he does, some of them. But it's just, he's a classic bully. If you had a schoolyard and he walked in and he had his bully friends around, the other people decide whether they want to oppose him or they want to let him just tell him what to do and own that, the schoolyard or the basketball court or whatever it is. He's got to be stopped.
At this point, De Niro wasn't just angry, he was indicting. On stage, in front of a cheering crowd, he laid it all out. Trump wasn't just a clown, he was a criminal. A bully who had turned politics into a playground and not in a fun way. De Niro compared him to that loud kid who runs around the court barking orders, hoping no one stands up to him. But this time, someone did. The applause wasn't just polite, it sounded like relief.
I don't know whether this is actually possible in reality, but where I can handcuff him and take him away in an orange jumpsuit. That That's what I said right after he was elected. Give him a chance. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. This guy has proven himself to be a total loser.
De Niro didn't just call Trump a liar or a clown. He called him what many have hesitated to say on air, a criminal. And not just in legal terms, but in what he represents. A system hijacked, a democracy tested. When he said Trump doesn't belong in the White House, but in court, no one blinked. They clapped because somewhere between the jokes and the outrage, a line had been crossed.
Yeah, he's so stupid. Look at the lame, inane things that he said. He's so stupid, he can't even say anything clever or smooth. He's a moron. But he's a scary one. And in all seriousness, and we know it here, people have to get out and vote and vote and vote and vote. Yeah.
It's almost comical until it isn't. Darrow called Trump stupid, sure, but then he called him scary. And that shift said everything because you don't have to be clever to be dangerous. Sometimes all it takes is power, a microphone, and a crowd that stops asking questions. That's when Darrow dropped the jokes and delivered the message. Vote like democracy depends on it, because this time it just might. So, how did Trump respond? Let's just say not like a tough guy. What came next was weak, awkward, and made everything worse. You'll want to see this.
This guy should not be president, period.
And when you say that, folks on Fox come after you. I remember the Tonys when you got up there and cursed. A lot of criticism of you that way.
Let me say something.
Why do you choose to go that way?
We are at a moment in our life, in this country, where this guy is like a gangster. He's come along and he's said things, done things we say over and over again. This is terrible. We're in a terrible situation. We're in a terrible situation. And this guy just keeps going on and on and on without being stopped.
Trump tried to clap back, calling Darrow a washed-up actor. Classic move. But Darrow wasn't even fazed. Instead, he called Trump what he sees him as, a gangster. Not in the movie sense, but in the real world. Rule-breaking, never held accountable sense. And the scariest part, he's not wrong. Trump keeps doing what he does, and somehow no one hits pause.
He's more than that to me. He's sick. He is really, genuinely a sick person that somehow has been allowed into our system. And I'm not calling him, I'm tired of calling him names. He just can't be anywhere near the office of the presidency. He's a fake president.
Now, what do you mean by that?
Well, he calls everything fake because he knows he's fake. So he's projecting.
He's projecting all the time, yeah. Accuse them of the thing that you know that you did.
That somewhere deep down, I don't want to get all psychological.
De Niro called Trump a fake president, not as an insult, but as a diagnosis. A man who projects everything he's guilty of and somehow still commands a following. And the real twist, he's not the only one who sees it. 83% think he's guilty. 60% say he's unfit. So, the question hangs in the air, and it's not rhetorical. How much longer will America reward this level of chaos?
I hate bullies, thugs who use their strength to push other people around. They think they can achieve power and hang on to it by intimidating others. Sadly, sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. And now we have Trump. He's all that, about intimidation, retribution. He's going to prosecute. He's going to send you to jail for having an abortion. He's going to take your Medicare and Social Security away. He's going to deport you. He's going to send the military after you if you defy him. You know who this shit works on? The MAGA politicians who are afraid of losing their power. They're so afraid of him, he's got them kissing his ass. And now they're trying to intimidate us. We will not allow that. Not even for a minute. Not even for a second. We need to show them.
It's one thing to be called a bully. It's another when the GOAT of gangster films says it straight to camera. De Niro wasn't acting, he was diagnosing. And the irony, Trump's whole image was built on fake toughness until a real tough guy showed up.
We're in a very bad situation. I remember you and I about 5-6 years ago talking down at the Spring Studios, something about, I said, what just happened, just happened. No, it didn't. It didn't happen. It's all about truth. And what we have here is a denial of truth all over the place. And even the speech that he made after is insane. It's just insane, and I'm very, very concerned about it. I think we all are. It's insane. So that's why I felt I had to do something, say something about it, to go on record.
De Niro didn't scream this time. He just looked around and said what millions have been thinking for years. It's insane. And when the guy who's seen every kind of mob boss, villain, and scam artist says it's gone too far, you know we've crossed into something even he can't act his way out of. Do you think Trump's playbook still works? Or are more people finally seeing through the act? Let us know below, because what De Niro says next might hit even harder.
Do you think he pretends to be dumber than he is to confuse people and make them think? No, you think he's
no. I don't think so.
Why do you think? I'm curious why you would guess that there's a big group of people in this country who believe that he cares about them.
I am totally dumbfounded, baffled by that. I can't understand it, and it's a thing that we've seen over decades and decades. And he's a what's it? Tammy Faye and the other one.
Yes.
It's the same thing. Give us your money.
He's a televangelist.
Save you. Yeah, televangelist. It's just the same thing, and it's so obvious. I just don't understand.
How he asked, can so many people still believe Trump cares about them? To him, it's like watching a late-night preacher sell salvation for $19.99, except the stage is now the White House lawn. The lights are brighter, the suit is more expensive, but the pitch still the same. De Niro's anger wasn't just about one man, it was about a system that allowed him to rise and still protects him today. What comes next might just explain why Trump is the symptom, not the disease. Everything that follows comes straight from public interviews, official clips, and on-their-ord commentary. Don't go anywhere.
Well, I don't know. It's just that people like the outlaw type thing, except we have a wannabe gangster in the White House now. There are certain, even gangsters have morals, and they have
a code.
They have ethics. They have a code.
Maybe not more code.
A code. They have a code, and when you give somebody your word, it's your word, because that's all you have is your word. Right. Especially in that world. This guy, he doesn't even know what that means.
Even De Niro had to laugh, because real gangsters, he said, still have a code. Trump not even close 6 bankruptcies, dodging taxes, scamming students, pushing bleach during a pandemic, and somehow still walking free. De Niro's point wasn't that Trump is dangerous because he's powerful. It's because he's shameless, and that might be worse.
It's funny, I was just thinking that he actually became president. He could have done good things. Instead, he had to do it all wrong. He's so, as we all know, so narcissistic and self-centered.
So
he's a sociopathic, psychopathic, malignant narcissist. He is a dangerous person, and we have to people realize, a lot of people, this audience, but the people who somehow think he's going to be the answer to their prayers, whatever those are.
Did you know him?
No.
De Niro doesn't need a psychiatry degree to recognize the signs. Trump's behavior isn't random, it's consistent. From suggesting bleach injections to humiliating war heroes, it's a mix of arrogance and delusion that should have disqualified anyone else. But somehow, it made him a hero to some. And that's not just disturbing, it's revealing.
I don't think they understand how dangerous it will be if he ever, God forbid, becomes president.
I don't think they really understand. And historically, from what I see, even in Nazi Germany, they had it with Hitler. They don't take him serious. He looks like a clown, acts like a clown. Mussolini, same thing. These guys, I don't know why, they look like clowns. They somehow, people, that element of society identifies in some ways with them, but it would be chaos beyond our imagination.
When De Niro compares Trump's rise to historical figures once dismissed as clowns, he's not exaggerating, he's warning. The scary part isn't just Trump himself, it's how many people see him not as a politician, but as a personal savior. Policy's irrelevant. It's not about facts, it's about faith. And when democracy turns into a fan club, things go downhill fast.
It was like a joke. This buffoon running for president. No, never could happen. We'd forgotten the lessons of history that showed us other clowns who weren't taken seriously until they became vicious dictators. With Trump, we have a second chance. And no one is laughing now. This is the time to stop
Robert De Niro isn't just calling out Trump. He's calling out the fear that built him. Fear of immigrants, fear of change, fear of losing the real America. And yet, the irony. The man leading that fear parade is married to someone who literally crossed a border to be here. If that's not the definition of cognitive dissonance, what is?
Today we have a kind of a weird, twisted president who thinks he's a gangster, who's not even a good gangster, because this is a guy that, you know, even gangsters like honor among thieves, you shake a hand, you have your word. That's all you have.
Yeah.
Is your word, and they have your word, and that's it. This guy is not the case.
Yeah.
You really worry that if he were to win again, and I'm not saying this like it's such a far-fetched notion, if he were to win again, that he would not give up power?
You know he won't. You know he won't. He even said it. He's never going to give it up. And anybody who deludes themselves in thinking that he is, shame on you.
You have compared the Trump family to a gangster family, which is something coming from you. What do you mean?
They are. Well, because he thinks he's a gangster. He does everything like a gangster. I don't think that gangsters in that world would think much of him, because there's honor among thieves. There's honor in anything. If you don't keep your word and do the right thing with people, no matter what profession you're in, you are going to get ostracized. And in that world, it's a little harder.
Once upon a time, we taught kids to think critically. Now we just teach them how to repost memes. De Niro is not just calling out Trump's gangster cosplay. He's warning us that we're losing the ability to know who's faking it and who's just mistaken. And when misinformation becomes mainstream, the con man doesn't need to lie. The audience does it for him.
These things it's much worse now than it was with Nixon. He's a Boy Scout compared to Trump.
We also heard from Trump saying that anybody who opposes him is the enemy within. That's the language he uses.
When I say the enemy from within, the other side goes crazy, becomes a sound. Oh, how can he say? No, they've done very bad things to this country. They are indeed the enemy from within. But this is who we're fighting.
He's talking about himself. The enemy within. He is the enemy within. He's projecting everything he says. It gets back to intimidation. That's the key. Intimidation.
And according to De Niro, he's using it to label everyone else the enemy while mirroring every tactic he accuses them of. Intimidation, projection, division. This isn't just politics. It's performance art with real consequences. And the scariest part, he's not even pretending anymore.
In my country, we're fighting like hell for the democracy we once took for granted. And that affects all of us. That affects all of us here because the arts are democratic. Art is inclusive. It brings people together. Like tonight, art looks for truth. Art embraces diversity. And that's why art is a threat. That's why we are a threat to autocrats and fascists. America's Philistine president has had himself appointed head of one of our premier cultural institutions. He has cut funding and support to the arts, humanities, and education. And now he has announced a 100% tariff on films produced outside the U.S. Let that sink in for a minute. You can't put a price on creativity, but apparently you can put a tariff on it. Of course, this is unacceptable. All these attacks are unacceptable. And this isn't just an American problem, it's a global one. Unlike a film, we can't just all sit back and watch. We have to act, and we have to act now. Without violence, but with great passion and determination. It's time for everyone who cares about liberty to organize, to protest, and when there are elections, of course, to vote.
Even on one of cinema's most celebrated nights, De Niro couldn't ignore the real-life drama back home. Calling Trump America's Philistine president, he reminded the world that this wasn't just about politics. It was about values, culture, and the kind of country we're becoming. And after everything he said, from the courtroom to the red carpet, one thing's clear: Robert De Niro didn't just criticize Trump, he made it personal, global, and impossible to ignore. From the stage to the courtroom steps, Robert De Niro's message has been consistent and impossible to ignore. He didn't just deliver a few scathing lines, he ignited a cultural firestorm, confronting Trump as a symbol of something far bigger. Through every sharp word calling out corruption, narcissism, and moral decay, De Niro gave voice to a deeper anxiety shared by millions that democracy isn't guaranteed, and silence is no longer an option. But whether one agrees or not, the bigger question remains: are we listening? Because, in the end, this isn't about celebrity outrage or partisan divides. It's about the kind of leadership we accept, and the kind of future we're willing to fight for. This video covers a televised segment where Robert De Niro publicly commented on Donald Trump, referencing his past actions and remarks. All content is based on verified public footage and widely reported media coverage. We strive to present the facts and public reactions accurately without exaggeration or distortion. This video fully complies with YouTube's community guidelines and fair use policy for political commentary, analysis, and public interest. If you found this video insightful or thought-provoking, feel free to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.